What is up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video, another episode of Everybody Hates Black Men. I'm your host, Edward Anderson. It's been a minute since I've gone live on StreamYard. It has been a while. It might have been longer than 90 days. I have to actually check. But this is for someone that basically sent me a $50 Cash App. So shout out to you. He basically sent me a Cash App. He wanted me to react to a video by a guy by the name of OMEEZY. So I'm going to do a reaction to that. It's early in the morning. It's too early to be up. And I'm probably going to keep this up. So I'm not going to do too much cussing. We'll do this maybe as an upload for those of y'all that are up this early. You can hear it now, but I'll probably unlist it and like relist it. Essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a reaction. Then I'm going to go through the channel and see what I think of the channel. I can already tell based on the fact that he's talking about the white manosphere that this is black dude talk about white manosphere. We'll see what goes, but this is what's going on. It's a couple other stuff I got to get to, but yeah, if you donate to me a certain amount of money, I'll definitely do a request. I don't necessarily push that. He happened to just send this. He sent it during his donation, and I wanted to kind of get this out. And I'll probably do a live stream and add this into a live stream as well. But we were gonna jump into it.
People I know.
Also, as far as Omeezy, this seems like a dude that he's just making content. I'm not putting him necessarily in the category of FD signifier. I think I've seen some of his other videos, so it's not that serious. We're keeping it light, So go over there. I'll put his link in the description or share the video I'm responding to. Give a comment on what your opinion is. Don't like necessarily beat him up. We'll see where it goes because I haven't seen the video yet, but let's see what it is. But this is a reactor, and a lot of these titles sometimes can be clickbaity, so you got to keep that in mind. I mean, unfortunately, it just is what it is. Actually, I need to look at the original video has 28,000 views. Um, he talked about disagree with something I said live. Debate shows the last Saturday every month 8 p.m. on YouTube. I mean, come on, and we'll go through some of the comments and stuff like that. But before I do all that, let's just jump right into it. Let me see, get the comments in here. Yeah, what's up? I know this is too early, so yeah. I mean, again, one thing too is we got to understand that the black man is, even though we understand what the red pill is and everything. I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm not here if people want to be willfully ignorant and they want to focus on certain things. I'm not about to argue with you. Like, I'm really not. At the end of the day, honestly, this space needs to really, in my opinion, not even use the term red pill. Not so much because people are running away from it, but the reality is, if you notice, everything that they show when it comes to red pill is white. You rarely even see them show Coach Greg Adams. It's all white boys. It's all alpha beta, and so it's like it's not. We don't have any white people in our space like that. In our space, we don't interact with that. So now it's kind of like what people think it is. It's not what it is. And the black manosphere has always been what we've said first and foremost anyway. So it's not about running away from anything, but I'm not about to sit here and argue with people that want to have like a certain viewpoint. I'm never coming off the black manosphere because that's what we are. But when it comes to the white manosphere, we don't I'm not gonna say we don't quote unquote fool with them, but you don't see us interact. We have different issues. So I'm that's kind of something I'm kind of rattling my head, because at the end of the day, folks have identified the, the last thing they say the red pill is truth. Essentially what it is hate women. And that's all. And anything, they just can't hear anything else. So and too many dudes have kind of pushed that. Like, my thing is, what I would ask Omeezy or whatever his name is before I even get started is, do you even believe in male advocacy? Do you believe that men should advocate for anything? And what should that be called? You see what I'm saying? And so, but let's jump right into it. Hopefully he doesn't. Yeah, hopefully he doesn't, like, try to get stupid with the copyright. But I don't, whatever. I already got paid for this, so it don't even matter.
will not accept a loss, okay? If a pro fighter did his jujitsu on him, then the guy's gonna come back and duct tape his family. You guys need to wake up. These are very big time squares. Pro fighters are the epitome of squares. They're like, come and
So first of all, this dude's spiel because I forget the dude I listen to, but he's like the white version of what Pocket Watcher with JT does. And he's out of basically his shtick is he was in prison. He was like a alpha dog in prison. You have to understand that this type of stuff caters to white men. This is not designed for black men. If you notice, if you look at a lot of the game dudes, there's exceptions to this rule, but they typically don't lay it on thick like this because um yeah, this is catered to white boys. And my thing is, other than it's for views, he got 28,000 in 2 days. Good job. And I mean that. Other than views, what's the point of doing this? Like, is your audience, and maybe it is. This dude, I don't know if he's FBA or not, and it doesn't matter, but is your audience a black audience? I don't think it is. I think he has a general audience. And so they talk about quote unquote the red pill because they know it generates views off of how people are annoyed by it. My thing that annoys me about all this, even looking at this, is most people don't even know what they don't really like about red pill. It's like outside of you saying it's misogyny, which let's really define what that actually is. Oh, well, you make women feel bad. Oh, you bash women. What is it? What's detrimental to men? Yeah, this a lot of this crap what you're looking at right now is like aftermath of the pickup artist age, just remixed in a motivation. These are like Anthony Tate like clones, and the reality is Anthony Tate was a character. So it's kind of like when we say it's like we need to get rid of red pill. Okay, you mean the white manosphere? That's a white conversation with white people. Where are you in that equation? Like, I want you to imagine him sitting there in front of white people saying what you need to get rid of. White dudes. Do you see how awkward that scene looks? But see, people don't think about that.
the ring and I'll fight you. You guys live in a fantasy world where pro fighters aren't the biggest squares on the planet.
For those of you who don't know, that is Wes Watson, former felon turned into motivational speaker, red pill leader, etc., etc. And normally this type of content wouldn't even make the main stage on my channel. One, because we're above it. I mean, he's a clear as indicated in some of the other content that we've covered on this channel before in regards to him, like when he got sensitive being on the Fresh and Fit podcast live panel.
So this sounds like this is more about him than the red pill. It's just red pill is in the title because that drives more views. And like I said, YouTube is a hustle. I'm not here to hate on the hustle, especially from reacting standpoint. So
what's the distinction?
But I was giving this video to respond to eviscerating of the red pill, not this guy.
And after you make X amount, hundreds of thousands of dollars, if you look at these studies done on this, it does not.
I don't fit no studies.
It does not
bro.
hugely improve a person's life.
Are you proud of who the
bro,
you are?
Why
well, look at. Are you proud? If you look in the mirror, would you guys say this mother proud?
See this again. Andrew is more of a TradCon dude, but this dude is not red pill. Let me be very clear about that. Whatever people want to associate with it, this dude is not. This dude, I'm not trying to just take it off. Obviously, he's on Fresh and Fit, but the reality is, even Fresh and Fit basically copied and pasted. Nothing they say is unique to them. I would ask somebody, what does Fresh and Fit say that nobody else has said before? Like, there's nothing unique to Fresh and Fit. All they did was basically invest extra money into a podcast, which, look, they took real risk. That's a lot of money. I'm not going to act like that doesn't matter, but they took real risk, did it in Miami. Basically, they low-key merged the pickup kind of stuff with, like, red pill and modernize it. That's essentially I don't even want to say modernize it. They just put some paint on it. That's essentially what they did. And most people nobody deals with Fresh and Fit because of the quality of the content from the this side of it. Because nobody really cares about what Fresh and Fit does with finance and stuff. They deal with Fresh and Fit because Fresh and Fit has views. Just like with Kai. Kai was at BET not because he's a good person or a nice person, because he draws eyeballs. And people see this as a chitlin circuit that they can come through, and they've been able to bring that up. Understand that Fresh and Fit, for the most part, caters to white people, and to the extent that they do cater to black people, is usually non-ADOS FBA blacks. So blacks that generally are kind of white identified. Um, or they date white women and stuff like that. And then everybody around their orbit, if you notice, if they are black, they're going to be in a more general audience. Or what? I mean, even Coach Greg Adams has a general audience. This is not black specific. And obviously, I mean, he doesn't have to speak on just black specific issues, but just understand it's kind of like when you really look in the fact, again, I mean, I don't, this dude is not a red pill guy. Like, if you tell me that this is the guy, like somebody says, well, what guys you think are red pill, and this is the dude you bring up, you're not thinking about that. And truth be told, like, even though Andrew Tate talked about the Matrix and stuff like that, Andrew Tate doesn't really identify with the red pill. A lot of red pill dudes or red pill situations. That's not the life he lived. He's more of an alpha your way through it guy. And even the alpha thing versus red pill thing is different. It is. It's not the same. It's really people emotionally reacting to the content, but I don't see nothing crazy so far.
Out of who the he is. That's a bag of trash, dude. Pull your shirt
Because
off.
I've been.
Tell me you're proud of
Because
yourself.
I've been to prison.
Jesus Christ!
Because
look
I've been
at
to
you,
prison.
Bro.
Let me keep it real. Like Tyson Fury is a white guy with a dad bod, and he beat put in the chat who he beat. I think twice. So I mean, at the end of the day, this what's funny about this is how a lot of black dudes act when it comes to game dudes. This is the same tactic that the game dudes use. This is the type of stuff that Steve the Dean would do. And see, in the white community, this doesn't work because they have certain standards they're supposed to uphold. See, the problem with this dude just standing up, no matter what, the class matters with white people because the white people at the top have more money. The dude in the white, that would never fly. That would never fly. But obviously, absent, all these lack of opportunities white people have, these young white dudes have, they get open to this. So the situation with white boys is completely different in that way than it is with black men. It's very different.
You got 10-inch arms and tits. Men don't have tits.
Yeah, this is the type of dude who wouldn't normally make the main stage. But I do think that he sparks a very interesting conversation. One that we've kind of talked about for a minute is that the red pill is dying, which,
Yeah, Deontay Wilder.
Round of applause. Kudos.
No, the red pill is not dying. No, the red pill. No, quote unquote, the red pill is not dying. The information is not dying. What it is you all have basically absorbed a lot of the information that was put out there. So now, rather than calling it red pill, these talking points just get promoted more. People just don't call it red pill. A lot of the So that's no, it's not. It's not. And like I said, that dude is not red pill. What you're seeing is a lot of the grift is starting to not work as much. And it's not even that it's not starting to work as much. It's also that a lot of this is the same thing that happened in pickup. From 1999 to like 2006, you had what I call a golden age of pickup, which is basically when that stuff was promoted, when people were selling courses and products. By the way, he doesn't know nothing about that, or at least he don't know nothing about that because he wouldn't be in the age range where he would. And they did the same thing that they did with red pill. they basically motivational spoke it to death. They deforested the pickup game. They sold it to dudes like fake game rather than teaching these guys, white boys, how to be organic with their game. And so what happens is women started to pick up on the patterns that these dudes were doing, and then they wanted to say it was misogynistic, because that's another thing, which it's not. That's another thing that happened. And so that went away when the 2008 crisis, all that went away. A lot of these people incubated, and then what you see is a lot of these quote unquote white game folks, they kind of reemerged into this kind of alpha male, fast cars, all this other stuff. And then they merged it into red pill, because that's where a lot of dudes work. You see the game dudes trying to do that too, but it doesn't work as well, because we generally keep more strong dividing lines. This is actually the main reason that's done. This is the main reason, like when BGS says that the game and all that is the same, I say it's not. That's a separate thing because of stuff like this. Because what happens is they start to try to commodify it. This is, look, RIP Alan Roger Curry, but this is kind of why Alan Roger Curry used to get frustrated, because people used to push back against this. So again, he can make his own declarations, but he's still talking about it. You got all these understand all these relationships. He's a reactor. He strikes me as a reactor, but all these relationship podcasts only exist because of Kevin. Mainly, they exist in the way that they exist, the way that the intention and how much people are starting and reacting to the content. Understand, people are still talking about Fresh and Fit, even though they can't stand Fresh and Fit. So yeah, people calling it quote unquote red pill. No, because it doesn't generate money, and a lot of people are not going to put the time into YouTube without money. But as far as the actual talking points, the needle being moved, yeah, it's just like a lot of stuff. If you come on, man.
For that. But I think we did an overstep in saying that it's dying, but we should rather say that it's evolving. You see, a lot of the figures
This sounds like the same thing FD Signifier said with the evolving. Come on, man.
who blew up during the COVID era are no longer here. Whether it be Kevin Samuels dying underneath a prostitute or whatever they said she was, or the Tate brothers getting caught up in sex allegations and abuse scandals that are actively going on. We're talking about real life investigations. Or doofus Wes Watson right here, who's getting actively sued for millions upon millions.
First of all, the fact that you put Andrew Tate, Kevin, all these people in the same thing. Kevin never did anything. Kevin, and from one black man to another, that's some cowardly crap. Kevin never did nothing. Kevin never tried to make money off of what he was doing. We can argue what he would have did, could have, would have, should have did, but at the end of the day, he never sold a course. He never did any of that. And yet we're putting him in the same category, because as far as they're concerned, everything. And like I said, this dude is making content that and formulating what he is. This dude is not an activist. This dude doesn't really. Look, man. A lot of black men, they're gonna go as far to solve a problem as it inconveniences them, and that's part of the issue. It's and unless it's an issue, you speak on stuff that quite frankly you don't really know, not really, and you speak on stuff that at the end of the day, the society, like literally the American society is dying. Now, he won't believe that, because just like AI is not a problem until the news tells you it's a problem. ChatGPT has been around for like 3 years or more, but it's not a problem until the news announces it's an issue. Now everybody talks about it. Automation's been a problem for years now. That's not a problem. So again, this is not a serious situation, but let's keep going.
Millions of dollars.
Okay, now so the next part. On or about December 29th, the date of the subject incident, plaintiff approached defendant Watson in the gym as he was instructed to do.
Like, I would ask this dude like an honest question. Who on the internet would you say actually has good intentions for men? I would be very curious as to who you say. Or do you just think they're all bad? I ain't screw red pill. Give me a name. Do you think there's anybody? I would be curious as to what he says with that.
to talk about posts and messages authored by Watson through social media platforms when the defendant became enraged, angry, and violent and began striking plaintiff with the hard metal buckle on a heavy leather.
Yeah. Again, I don't even think this dude strikes me as somebody like he's just reacting. One thing about reactors is they always have this kind of this moral thing, where they try to say what's right and what's wrong in their opinion. It's always going to be based. It's always the most general. That doesn't make anybody mad. This is what annoys some people about mediocre tutorials. It's kind of evolved into. It's this like the gossip when the women like Lovely T.I. and them do that. Like they get. I mean, you've heard this with O'Shea and stuff. They give this general moral thing. A lot of them are not taking like really strong stances. They're not. Because really it's really about how do you galvanize an audience that's going to keep watching your stuff and keep watching you. But the problem is when you do stuff like that, you don't move the needle. But that's not what that's not what his channel was for. His channel was for making money, and that's fine, but it is what it is. I mean, he does have I'll say this, he does have a debate. He said in the description he has a debate show at the end of every month, but it is no point in debating anymore because the environment's going to correct everything anyway. The environment is going to, like, here's the problem. Regardless of whether you believe in a red pill or a manosphere or whatever, the environment is going to force things to happen. So as men, we just need to keep pounding the pavement as far as what dudes need to do. I mean, he ain't going to have the answers for what's about to happen.
Lifting belt, using the belt as a dangerous weapon and striking plaintiff multiple times about his body, including his head. At various points, Watson was using racial slurs and called plaintiff the N-word, I'm not going to say it, and threatened to kill plaintiff multiple times. The initial attack and all the subsequent attacks were unjustified.
Only the toughest of the red pill take offense and start getting into fights with people at their gyms. But so I think over the past couple years, the over-the-top theatrics have become so much. Like, they've become to the point where people just can't stomach it. It started off with being good.
Notice these fools never show a black dude other than Myron, who's not like, I'm like, can you show me an African American? Notice they never what's his name? They never show any of the black dudes that claim red pill. They just never do. You notice that? Myron doesn't count. Myron and Fresh, they're not African American. Show me some African Americans. They never really show Coach Greg Adams like that. You notice that? It's always the same white guys. They throw Kevin for mix, but Kevin never did none of that. None of that. You notice how I'm going to tell you, even though Corey don't quote unquote claim red pill, Corey says a lot of this stuff. You notice how they never bring up Corey? Number one, Corey will check you, but they don't. So it's come on.
Normal advice to men, go to the gym, get close to God, start a family, be a good father, etc., etc. Build up your credit, start a business. Just pretty generalized stuff. However, every once in a while, it was just sprinkled with misogyny, homophobia, and whatever other hatred is that you want to throw into the conversation. The red pill started picking up more and more and more of that steam.
Okay, so misogyny is defined. There's a real definition of misogyny and there's an internet definition of misogyny. The internet definition of misogyny is anything that women don't like is classified, that men do is classified as misogyny. Like, let's just keep it real. So it's a feeling argument. The definition of misogyny is hatred for women. All the stuff that they're telling men to do is like all the stuff he just said before that he said was general advice, which it is basically to be more valuable in the eyes of women, but you hate women. That doesn't make sense. Andrew Tate has a daughter. Kevin has a daughter. Like, you all casually say this stuff. And he probably grew up with this rhetoric. He grew up with this. And it's kind of like, again, I'm not here to defend those fools because that's some white manosphere crap. And again, they could never do the same crap with us. This is why FD has to do all of this like sideways stuff. Because if you talk about Dr. Tiasan Johnson or even Dr. Tommy Curry, it just doesn't hold up. And this is why I am very proud that we separate ourselves early on from that. But and plus, again, it sounds crazy. Like, and then the homophobia. It's like we're getting to a point where you almost have to be gay in order to prove you're not homophobic. That's literally like people keep talking about homophobia. Like what homophobia? Like seriously, what clip? Like I'm curious, what clip do you have that shows Andrew Tate or any of these guys are homophobic? Do you have a clip of them saying the F bomb? Do you have like what is it? What is it? These dudes don't even mention homosexuals like that. Like for instance, let me give you an example. I don't believe that there's a such a thing as a bisexual man. You're a gay man that has sex with women. Now you want to say I'm homophobic? Now here's why that here you want to say I'm homophobic because I say that because I don't. So it's like yo. So I don't reckon that's like me saying I'm racist because I don't believe if I say I don't believe in separate but equal, if I don't believe in a white section or color section, I'm racist. I'm like Caucasian phobic or something. Like it's so stupid. And these people just casually use these terms. And again, these terms are for an audience. This is sheep language. It's sheep language. It's people. I'm not even talking about him. I'm just talking about the audience. It's like none of this stuff really holds up.
To the point where we get the over-the-top caricatures of men, bad actors in this community where they're taking advantage of young and helpless individuals, putting on KKK masks and hoods and monkey suits and saying that all women are whores, men should never be married, and just getting to a point.
Number one, very few red pill people, the people that he described, some of them are married. Like the first dude he brought up are married. Rolo is married. Myron never said now, and then some of them do be using saying whores and stuff. They don't say all women are whores, but but we do have a certain culture. So it's not accurate. It's not accurate. Like, cause I had another dude that went over that dude. That dude was married. That dude was married like twice. Rolo is married now. So again, the stuff is not accurate. It really isn't. Kevin was married twice. It's not accurate. Now, are there dudes that don't that basically believe that the marriage laws can be changed? Yes. But that's not who you show. Again, it's just red pill bad, watch the video with my audience, red pill bad. And it's like
Where people are saying to themselves,
notice how these dudes always act like they basically act like the world is the world. There's nothing wrong in the world. Basically, these dudes are just kicking up dust and they're taking advantage of people that don't know nothing. You know what's funny is basically what feminism is what they say what feminism does is what the red pill is. Basically, what feminism actually does is what they say the red pill is. Child defensive.
even the consumers of that community said, hey, enough is enough. I can't relate to this anymore. These guys are detrimental to my mental health. And part of that was them getting out into the real world, potentially trying out that rhetoric and seeing that it's failing for themselves. But another
Well, I mean, first of all, it's not about rhetoric. The rhetoric is when you say try out the rhetoric and seeing that it's failing, it's not is what rhetoric are you like when you say try out the rhetoric? Like you just said all the generalized information. Here's the thing. If it was failing, it would just die out on its own. Y'all wouldn't have to wish it upon a star. The point is it's getting bigger. That's why people have to take more steps to do stuff. If the red pill just didn't work, Andrew Tate wouldn't be in jail because it wouldn't be a threat. If this stuff, you didn't have to pass a whole law about with Andrew Tate. They won't say that. So again, like at the end of the day, when the generalized information, like, dude, there are no jobs for young men. White men are not, because this is mainly white men, they are not able to in their position. What are you talking? Just saying it ain't. That's not saying that pretending that's not true doesn't make it not true.
part of it was these guys getting online and embarrassing themselves through hypocrisy and other actions over the past couple of years. Kind of like when Walter got a 304 pregnant and then did that whole abortion scandal, or some of the stuff from...
Again, these are not red pill. Walter is a business dude. These are people that cosplay it. Like, you know what's funny? When you ask these people, where did they come? Again, he said it. A lot of these people came from the pandemic, which means they weren't really red pill like that. They cosplay as red pill. Like, again, it's funny, man. It's funny. And here's the thing. That's why it's not going nowhere, because the reality is it's not even being addressed. You're addressing clowns and you think, oh, we're gonna make it look bad. At the end of the day, people can say, oh, I reject the red pill. Okay, so what problems? How are you gonna solve? So apparently you don't have an issue then.
Just every single last one of these red pill dudes found themselves being embarrassed in some sort of public light. Here is my go-to
Coach Greg Adams
VPN service for all my privacy and security needs. Whenever you're browsing online,
of course he has a sponsor.
back guarantee and 20 every single year. I think a key indicator of this is how the election swayed from one side to the other side. You know, young voters voted Democrat, historically speaking, in these past couple of elections in my lifetime. But
I mean, Donald Trump winning should have been a wake-up call. Donald Trump winning should have been a wake-up call. Like, seriously.
now we can see the trends go towards, you know, the Republican side. And
Well, because the Democrats, number one, the Democrats aren't solving problems. The Democrats are not the real Democratic Party anymore. The Democrats are a captured party, so people are looking for a solution. Why would you keep on voting for the same thing? The Democrats let affirmative action go out. It's like I said, man, this is just fluff puff stuff.
this is partly due to, you know, these younger voters being experienced in the red pill community over the past couple of years. Until we get to last year's
The red pill community that's dying, by the way. Remember, he said that.
election where Donald Trump is going on like Joe Rogan and Theo Vaughn, and he, a new figure in the red pill community, even though it doesn't seem like that, you know, he is now
Again, so now red pill is being associated with conservatism. Red pill is being associated with conservatism. And another thing too is you have a lot of closet Democratic shills, like a lot of dudes that they're liberal, but they don't know why they're liberal. Like, if I ask them like 10 things and then 10 things and then 10 questions, are you for this, for this, for this, for this, for this? And then, like, they don't even know why they are. They just see Democrats good, Republicans bad, because Republicans racist. Not understanding who Joe Biden is, not understanding things Hillary Clinton said. Yeah, he's not, but I got paid $50 to speak on this, so he could not
being
say
crowned as
anything.
the champion, and he's spreading this rhetoric to this young and seemingly naive, you know, community about certain things.
You know, as opposed to spreading feminism to a young, naive community, as opposed to spreading the alphabet community to children that don't understand, you know, as opposed to all of that. So now you got women that basically are in 40s that are not like it again, you know, it's you know, it's basically say what you need to do to get views and get a sponsor. It's not about I mean, his I'm not even mad at it. It is what it is, but this is not what moves. His channel is not a channel that solves a problem. His channel is a waste. His channel is basically, you know, oh, well, you're saying a lot about his channel. You don't even know his channel, dude. I can look right at it and tell, you know, he's never going to say anything that's going to basically move the needle anywhere. Basically, look, I'm going to keep it real. If it was basically you have a middle needle, a consensus kind of point, and wherever that point goes is where these dudes learn to be at. It doesn't matter. It's not principle.
I see another place in space that rhetoric for the red pill community has spilled over into is the streaming community. Now, streaming has become so mainstream and so big and so pervasive.
That's what BGS was talking about with Twitch.
That naturally all of the young eyes and audience would gravitate towards it. So,
well, the stream community is male heavy. So
when you sit here and you're watching your favorite content creator play video games and then react to the news and say stuff like this, it's no wonder that you start, getting back into that red pill bag that you quote unquote escaped from a couple years ago.
Oh, Dochi rant? Oh, dude, don't get me started on that.
it's and notice how it's always can you give me somebody other, like, all of y'all reactors talk about the same people. If this stuff was so pervasive, why is the same people being talked about? Aiden Ross interviewed Donald Trump, and you want to, like, basically conservatism is red pill. Oh my God. Which, no, it's not. It's a lot of conservatives out here. Mike Johnson, no, it is not. You got a lot of cucks, what's the Jewish dude, Ben Shapiro? He is not red pill. You got a lot of trad cons. They are not red pill. Andrew Wilson agrees with a lot of common sense stuff that can be associated with the red pill, but Andrew Wilson wouldn't classify as red pill. He's more of a trad con. What are you talking about?
That bitch. Don't get me started on that industry plant. Don't get me started. You guys can say shit whatever you want about me, but one thing about me is I'm not an industry plant. I've been streaming for
take the situation with Kai Cenat and DDG. So now we're gonna say Kai Cenat is red pill. What? So now we're gonna say DDG is red pill because DDG is going through real problems. He ain't saying nothing has to do with red pill. He's talking about the problems he's going through. These are common problems.
a long time now. Fuck Dochi. He has zero talent.
Now, you would have thought that Dochi committed like treason the way that Aiden
No good music. She
talked to her, but she talked to her.
I don't like Dochi either. Dochi is a plant. I've heard Dochi on every station. Dochi strikes me. And first of all, Dochi straight up said, and here's the thing, he ain't gonna bring up. Well, let's see what he says. Let's see what he says first.
Her team sternly about getting her umbrellas in a room filled with a lot of noise, so she shouted. She cursed at him, and it seemed a bit aggressive, but it did not call for Aiden Ross to call her a bitch. But so this is what red pill content looks.
No, what caused for somebody to call her a bitch is when she said that a red flag. Dochi said that if you're not gay, that's a red flag. Dochi is the new Janelle Monáe. And black men like Janelle Monáe, but basically Janelle Monáe she's a man hater. But you won't say that. You won't say that. Dochi is the new Janelle Monáe with less talent that they're trying to push. Exactly. But he won't say that part. Dochi, and by the way, it was another reactor that actually brought that up, the Prince. Dochi antagonizes folks. Billie Eilish does it in subtle ways, so she can be on the radar. But Dochi antagonizes folks, and at the end of the day, we don't need another. I don't need a talentless. First of all, that song, that Anxiety, that song is trash. The song that bass is based on is much better. So Dochi is somebody that they're shoving down people's throats.
Looks like it's a.
But again, this is a guy that doesn't have a spine for real. I'm gonna say this real take. Any heterosexual man, when you understand in this country and the history in this country to minimize our population. Shout out to the great Dr. Francis Quest Wilson, who predicted all of this. Any man that is outwardly trying to act like LGBTQ needs to be normalized in the black community. Look, people want to be what they want to be. I'm not against that. But trying to establish that as like a normalized standard that kids can kind of fall into is very problematic because it's another version of population control. It really is very problematic. It is. And we've had enough time with this to understand it. We've had 10 years with this crap. And you see dudes like this who basically grew up in that. I know what it was when you had the Defense of Marriage Act. I was like, give them civil unions, but don't give them marriage. And we were proven right. They also said that they were never going to go after the kids either. And they said that was homophobic. They absolutely proved that we were right, that they were going to do that.
sprinkle here of disrespect to women. It's a sprinkle there of homophobia. It's a good sprinkle.
So again, calling a female a bitch is not misogynistic. Like, I don't want to cuss, but like, nigga, that's some weak ass shit. That's some weak ass shit. So now if I call a chick a bitch, I'm from Chicago. If you say some goofy shit like that in a barbershop, you're gonna get laughed at by the old heads that actually raise kids. You got dudes that were stepfathers to chicks that had kids with drug dealers that actually put in real work as far as raising kids, some of which weren't theirs. If you come in there with that lame, weak ass shit, talk about if you call a chick a bitch, let me tell you something. Is every woman a bitch? No. Are every woman capable of being a bitch? Yes. But if you're acting like a bitch, I'm gonna call you that. Notice how he would never have a problem with a women calling a man sassy, weak, lame. None of this stuff would like register with him as a serious problem as far as like him making a bit. He would never put that kind of seasoning on it. Oh my God, look at their misandry. Like, look at how much a dude was walking up to a woman just saying hi and she just cussed them out. Oh my God, the misandry. You would never hear that because that wouldn't play well in the generic puff piece YouTube. All of it, you got women out here saying you had a legit content creator out here, like they had north of 100 subscribers, 1,000, you know who I'm talking about, said abort black male babies. Like, it's so much stuff. Like, at this point, the red pill is pretty much played a tape of what the chick said. Like, that's what it is. And it's kind of like, oh, this misogyny, homophobia. Let me tell you something. When you hear dudes do this, these are like liberals. These are liberal black men. And let me be very clear. I don't want to say these are neoliberal black men. Because you got dudes like, you got certain dudes that are, they are liberal. They are not liberal from a cultural standpoint. They're liberal for different reasons, but like, real talk, you got these neo liberal, basically I surrender black males that are non-threats. They are non-threats. You really think these are gonna be the dudes you're gonna build the community with? You really think these are the dudes that's gonna get their hands dirty on anything? I mean, seriously. And I'm reading too deep into it with the video, but it's kind of like, don't hurt me. I'm just here living my nice life. Like seriously.
Of transphobia mixed into
Transphobia. Like, it's all these words. Like, they use these words, but there's meaning behind that. Like, transphobia, really? 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 Somebody can't be you can't be trans without technology. I guess that's transphobic. There's a reason this stuff was in the book, in a mental illness book, the compensatory manual for mental illness. There's a reason.
To your content to push out to a bunch of other people. It's not as overt anymore. And this is where people are going to have a hard time picking up on the rhetoric. There's not one singular face. You know, there was a point in time in which a teacher had pointed out that her kids were watching Andrew Tate, and they could link that back to the rhetoric in which he was saying, or that the kids were saying in the classroom.
Matthew, teachers have spoken very vividly of how they are
okay, so at least he put this in a video.
Deeply worried about how the language, the attitudes, the behaviours that Andrew Tate models in his content are having a far-reaching influence on boys as young as 10 and 11, and certainly older teenagers.
This is no different than rappers. This is no different than West Coast rap.
That, they say, is translating into a culture where casual sexism is normalised in UK schools, where the kind of language that you might hear in some of Andrew Tate's videos are then repeated by children back to teachers, and that, along with other online content, is contributing to harassment in schools, to sexual assaults in schools.
But now you see the rhetoric play.
You laying all of that on one dude. Do you understand how crazy that is when you really think about that? I want you to think about it. Imagine if they connected Call of Duty with with shootings, all the school shootings as a video game. Somebody would get sued for defamation for doing that. That's essentially what they're doing. By the way, they have yet to convict Andrew Tate on anything.
Out in current events and general content. It's been so many conversations about Meg Thee Stallion and Haley Bailey and Tory Lanez and DDG, and the way that that has divided men and women, and some of the rhetoric being used by
men and women have been divided. These conversations haven't divided anybody. They've been divided. Like, what are you talking? Like, you know, one thing that's interesting is these people talk as if feminism doesn't exist. They talk about as if we don't have a thing called feminism. Like, that never get, you notice how these people never use the word feminism? You notice that? You never hear these people use the word feminism? You notice that?
some of these platforms, even if it's just a Twitter account, is the new way that the red pill community is displaying itself. It's the same women are liars rhetoric.
Shout out to Jada Black. People have been talking about these issues. What are you talking about? What are you? I'm going to say this. You got real things, like you got real things coming down the pike, and it's coming rapidly. It's even being talked about on the news now. Y'all could look. I get it. Entertainment. This is what's. I'm blanking because it's early today. What is Abba? This is some Abba and preach bullshit. That's what this is. This fake at look. This dude seems like a nice kid. I'm not here to beat him up. I'm not gonna knock his hustle. This is some like reverse poor man's podcast bullshit. Abba and preach bullshit. That's all it is. And by the way, poor man is married. Shit like this, like you notice how poor man never gets mentioned. Oh, they know not to. You want to know? You notice who never gets mentioned? Poor man never gets mentioned, even though mediocre is kind of disassociated with red pill. Poor man has it. You notice how they don't mention Pearl anymore? They don't. They always mention the same 4 or 5 guys. It's always got to be Andrew Tate and Myron. Always. They don't never mention Andrew. It's always got to be Andrew Tate and sprinkle in. And then if they need to put a black dude in it that ain't Myron, they'll put Kevin Samuels. Which, by the way, this dude is a principled dude, but I want to let the record show that you saw how casual he was about talking about Kevin Samuels died with a prostitute. You don't know what the fuck that was, but you didn't care because you didn't care to. Because he's just a black dude, right? It doesn't matter. You know, you just casually say that. And you know why he casually said that shit? He casually said that shit because he knows his audience doesn't like Kevin Samuels because they lump him in with all the other red pill stuff. Doesn't matter if Kevin has a daughter. Doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter. And this virtue signaling bullshit. And my thing about this is all this does is waste. And let me tell you something. I've always said this. You're accountable to who you watch. If you're watching, look, this dude, look, kudos to him building his channel, making his videos. I'm not here to hate. But if you sit here and you can't stand our content, so you be like, oh, I'm not going to hear nothing that sounds pro-male because that's red pill. And you listen to all these people. Well, I mean, hey, when the world catches up to your ass, it is what it is, right? You know, when that music stops. Because these dudes ain't going to give y'all no problems. Because to solve problems requires you actually acknowledging the problem to begin with. So you listen to this shit, you listen to Abba and fucking preach, they good. They're vacuuming up your watch time. Shout out J Bay with the $10 super sticker. Much appreciated. I am king. You know, basically, essentially what they do is they profit off of red pill boogeyman talk. Basically, it's the same formula. Throw in some Andrew Tate, throw in maybe a little Kevin for a little history, but usually it's always Andrew Tate and Myron, and they don't want to get nobody clout, and everybody gets a visceral reaction because of Andrew Tate and Myron. That's what it always is. And then you may sprinkle in some other shit from Variety. Watch, rinse, repeat. Red pill bad. Misogyny, misogynoir, misogyny, transphobia, homophobia, philinophobia. It's literally a script. You could feed that shit. You could feed that shit in the AI. You could feed that shit in the AI and get AI to fucking feed you a fucking script. Add some pictures in here, maybe throw in a little bit of what they look like for Variety. Virtue signal, watch and repeat. You got a video cake based on, you know, whatever your audience is. Very simple. I mean, it's just as formulaic. Or fill in sponsor. So obviously the video is sponsored, so you already getting paid with that plus the views. So whatever his sponsorship fee is, he's got like 100,000 subscribers, so it's probably pretty good. Then you add in 28,000 views so far in 2 days. So it's probably that's like $150. So plus whatever fee he gets, maybe like $150, $300 video. I mean, that's what it is. You know, not bad for sitting in your stuff and just yapping about nothing.
Men are better. You know, get back in the kitchen.
Basically, you know, let's pretend that, you know, women don't have feminism, and a lot of this stuff is a reaction to it. Nothing's a problem, you know.
Fine. What's 17 more years? I can always start again. Make another kid.
Yeah, these people ain't solving fucking problems.
Etc., sprinkled in with a little bit of men's self-help. But because it's not as overt as we once saw it be a couple years ago, nobody's really talking about it. There's not one centralized, singular face who's made their entire platform about it. In fact, all those people who have done that have tried to go against that grain as much as possible. I can't remember the last time I've seen a video clip about one singular content creator go so far down the rabbit hole of saying they hate women, women are thoughts, etc.
First of all, nobody was really like that. That's number one. And number two, this stuff was never about being a grift. This stuff was activism. And you notice how what they never talk about. They never talk about marriage reform, family court reform, child support. They never talk about like feminism and the overreach of feminism to the point where it's not even solving women's problem anymore. They never talk about that. What you had was people that came in and grifted. That's what you had. And those folks, if you take Myron and them Myron was doing a lot more than just Red Pill. Sneeko was never Red Pill. Sneeko was a fucking model. This dude is out of prison. Not saying that automatically disqualifies him. Come on, these dudes, and essentially because they're not getting views, they don't exist. And when you the real world is not on YouTube. Just because something gives you, look, man, Mr. Beast is a billionaire. That doesn't look, obviously people like watching his stuff, but are you telling me that what like Mr. Beast is more important than like CNN or what your news that informs you? I'm just saying. Like, that's not how life works. And this is why I keep telling you a lot of this is mind control. Because if you got your phone in these apps and you're not touching grass, you won't know what, like again, he's not talking like you got Iran declaring war on Israel. You got all this stuff going on. Obviously, that's outside the scope of his content. But my point is all these things are bigger. Like, even like he played the BBC. He literally played UK passing a law. It's like, again, that virtue signaling shit ain't gonna work if you can't find a job. And these people you watching, yeah, they're gonna be good because they're getting your watch time. They are stealing your time. Basically feeding you virtue signaling bullshit, telling you the sky isn't falling.
That's, not out of the fresh and fit camp, because they're going to continue to do that. But you can bet your bottom dollar that you will see red pill rhetoric pop up in the next AMP drama or, Duke and his baby mother situation or whatever the case may be. Look, am I glad that we are away from the days of the Kevin Samuels, Fresh and Fits, Andrew Tates, or whoever the case may be? 100%. Like, I'm glad that Wes Watson and his core fan base is slowly dying and nobody's wanting to watch them. I said at the time when Kevin Samuels passed away that things would just be taken to a whole nother extreme, and if this was bad, we are in for worse. And we've weathered that storm. And
oh my fucking God, you weathered that storm. Okay. I'm going to say this. I'm going to be very simple. Donald Trump is in the White House. To a lot of the people that would be your audience, that's hell on earth. And by the way, unless Donald Trump really shits the bed, JD Vance is most likely going to be your next president. One thing that I do want y'all to understand, and I'm not saying he's a direct pay from the Democrat. I'm not saying that. You have you have a cultural push that a lot of these dudes are going to be guided algorithms, because you got to remember, Google is trying to fight off an antitrust case. I'm gonna keep my opinions on what that should happen to myself. I'll put that in the Discord, but they're fighting the case. Obviously, well, obviously they're gonna try to do what they can do to try to hedge their bets. Um, this is fake virtue signaling. This is opera and preach bullshit. That's what I can already tell. This is opera and preach bullshit, fake virtue signaling, having a content. This is meaningless. Listening to this shit is a waste of your time. It's a waste of your time, because you're not really being informed about anything. It's just it's virtue grifting. Got a new term. Virtue grifting. It's virtue grifting. It's virtue grifting.
It's over, but it's not over at the same time. This doesn't mean that
It's over, but it's not over.
you know.
And by the way, he low-key admitted exactly what I said. Is the thing about it is, a lot of this information has already changed the game. It's already been accepted, which is why you're seeing people kind of propagate it. The fact you're even talking about
Stop listening to the youth. This doesn't mean that you take the foot off the neck of some of these, red pill dudes or red pill adjacent dudes or people that have this rhetoric and ideology. Make sure that you continue to press and challenge them, and make sure that you can
again. These people talk as if feminism does not exist, as if women are still oppressed, and as if you got these dudes like this is virtue grifting. I need to write that down. This is virtue grifting. So let's look. I've listened to him. I mean, he paid me $50, so I appreciate that. But anyway, this is virtue grifting. That's all it is. This is the same bullshit that Auburn Preach does. And the thing is, people are dealing with real problems, but because it's virtue grifting. It is what it is. I mean, there's worse things to do, but it's virtue grifting. So, no, this is not what I wanted. Let's see. We need to eviscerate, and I would ask him, do you believe in male advocacy at all? Or do you call all that red pill? That's what I would say. So let's see what this dude's channel is on, just to go through it real quick. Just to go through it to see what he's about, because maybe I misjudged him. I'm curious if he's FBA. Something gives me cooking with Kaya's getting cooked. I doubt he's talking about bullying. White people are done with black people. Her advice backfired. It's virtue grifting. He's basically seems like he's in the middle with the Haley thing. YouTube beef ends in killing live stream. Generally he does about 50,000. Yeah, so he's a reaction channel. He's built his reaction channel. Yeah, he probably's got a much younger audience. Paul Pierce is just Myron Gaines with a championship ring. So basically, do the color, it's very, yeah, virtue grifting. The red pill is becoming more feminine. Kid or Mr. Organic is not red pill. Rich Organic would be more of a game dude, but that's a distinction without a difference. Yeah, I mean, I see young dudes out here, um let me see. The Prince J. Where's this dude at? What's his name? Soldier Boy. I forget, this dude, but whatever. Yeah, I'm not even mad at it. I mean, there's worse things to do, but it's virtue grifting. Because Paul Pierce isn't allowed. Paul Pierce is not allowed to say, again, anything that sounds like male advocacy is going to be called red pill. Yeah, it's virtue grifting. You're welcome. You can take that term. By the way, the thing that I was talking, I'm not gonna say who it was, but somebody gave me $1,000 donation. So much appreciated to UTL. That's what I was kind of hesitating. Yeah, it's virtue grifting. I'm not even mad at him. I mean, at the end of the day, I've actually told my brother he would be good at doing this. I may send him some of his videos to inspire him. Yeah, you can steal it. Virtue grifting. That's what it is. Let's spread it around. Unlike, I mean, I'm not even mad at people that do this, but I don't really care. I put the words out for the culture, the phrases, but it's virtue grifting. And FD virtue grifts, Auburn preach virtue grifts. And shame on you people that fall for that crap. Because the reality is y'all listening to these virtue grifters are not gonna solve y'all problems. Don't listen to the red pill. I don't care what you listen to. This is not me. Listen, do what you want, but I hope you got it under control. Because when these dudes ain't got no answers for you. See, a lot of these dudes don't bring up Corey Holcomb because if they talk about Corey Holcomb negatively, Corey Holcomb will stamp a copyright strike your stuff if you he's quick on that. But yeah, virtue grifting. He said, looks like somebody get Vince. I mean, I'm not even like playing. I mean, at the end of the day, Vince Staples' cousin. Yeah, but it's virtue grifting. And again, it's that kind of Mr. Belvedere's neighborhood, you know, modern Democrat, weak, modern Democrat. I surrender. Everything is copacetic, you know, um somehow it's like the avatar, everything is at peace, and then these red pill fire nation mofos came and just everything was in balance, and they just red pill bad, and it is what it is. It's how you work your audience. That's what they're doing. And ultimately, I'm not even knocking the hustle. I'm not. They're just hustling watch time. But at the end of the day, if you believe in that crap, if you buy into, if you fall into the trap of listening to people that's gonna tell you water ain't wet because wet water is bad, it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. But I gave this a good hour. Shout out to you for sending this. If y'all want me to react to some, just send it to me. I actually got another one I need to do, but we're gonna get back to StreamYard stuff. I wanted to kind of bang this out. Hopefully he likes what I did. Yeah, and they do videos on streamers because that does a lot of views. That's why they do the videos, because those guys generate a lot of views. They're gonna look at content around their favorite streamer. So yeah, the red, but the and he talks about the red pill because he knows it generates a good some views. Now it's less views than what I've seen he generally gets, but ultimately it's a lot of it's still energy around that. So they go after clusters. That's why a lot of people do videos with Kendra G, because it generates views. People, they select views. I do myself more from an activist standpoint. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. Cause I'm not here, red pill is here to stay. I'm not here for that at all. No, we're here to move the needle. And the one thing that annoys me about this is a lot of young men have real problems. And like I said, if people say it ain't no issue, there ain't no issue. But anyway, man, I don't know if I'm gonna keep it real with you, Pensive. You gonna have to drop like 100 for me to review that. I can't stand the grapevine. You gonna have to drop some money for me to do that. Lamont Hill will acknowledge certain things, but a lot of this stuff is grifting. It really, and I hate that term is so overused. But essentially, the goal here, like at the end of the day, these dudes never. It's just general advice that we can give everyone. No, there are unique issues we are dealing with right now. We are in a societal crisis. Is that true or is that not true? And the thing is, they'll say that's not true. Okay, so you're saying that everything is fine. Cool, we don't need to talk. It's that simple. Like seriously. I want dudes on the record. I want people on the record saying ain't no problem, everything is just fine. Anyway. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. Let me see if somebody hit me with a cash app or anything. In case y'all do want to do that. You know, I had this thing up the whole time. Yeah, well, since he's virtue grifting, I'm going real nigga grift. Real nigga talk. Shout out shout out J the Aesthetic for the $20. Shout out Penta for the $10. Shout out Jay for the $10. Much appreciated. All right, Penta, you give me the video. I'll look at it and see if I can stomach it. Grapevine was always full of crap. First of all, Grapevine's time was up when you got all these Nigerians basically doing essentially what is FBA hate, mass gender war. Again, Shade Room is owned by a Nigerian. It's the runs by is a Nigerian. I mean, you got a lot of stuff. And again, like I said, man. Appreciate Jo West for the $5. Much appreciated. Like I said, this does not count as the stream that I said that I was gonna do. This doesn't count as that, but this will give y'all kind of a good, appetizer. Yeah, I mean, basically, and I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of those, it was a good amount of those. I won't say like half, but like 30%, 35% of those chicks were not FBA. A lot of those chicks that spoke on FBA stuff, they are like Chrissy is. I think is like Chrissy has a Caribbean parent. Rashida Schrober has a Caribbean parent. A lot of like again, we're at a time where the environment is catching up to a lot of stuff. So a lot of these people listening to this crap, and these people don't be having no answers for them, and they getting scammed. Hey, that's on them, man. That's on them for real. But anyway, y'all, it's been great. With that being said, it is Edward signing off. Peace.